Kia ora, Lara here, and today I'm working on day 16 of Scraptember 2022, and it's all about the patterned paper background. So I've actually gone for a black and white stripe background, so it's kind of a simple, easy to use background here. The photo that I'm going to be documenting is just one of the gorgeous little streams and water flows that I was able to stop and photograph while I was walking along. I was talking to someone about sort of stopping to take photos in the weekend when I'm tramping, and it's often my ploy just to take a little bit of a break, but I do really enjoy sort of seeing some of the different environments around and pausing to actually enjoy them rather than rushing to the next destination or the next point in the track. So I only had my iPhone with me. I didn't have my big camera, and I did kind of wish that I'd taken a good camera with me, but I wouldn't have wanted the extra weight, as it turned out. One of the other people that was tramping with us at the end in December last year, I should say, did actually have her good camera with her, and I was a little bit jealous that she had it. But that's okay. I had over last year learned a little bit about the iPhone and how to make it take photos where it looks like you've got that blurred water or that water motion happening, and so I was able to apply that once we got to the hut a little bit later on in the trip. So I'm just playing around with a few different patterned paper scraps and just trying to tie them all together so that they sort of fit that triangular shape that's up on the top right of this photo cluster, and kind of making a square with them. I don't know why, it just the way it came together, and it was the shape of the scraps that sort of inspired that thinking. But I love how pages and the way we work when we're making stuff can take a different turn, or it's not prescribed at the start, but it kind of comes out the way it comes out, which is always about telling that story and documenting what's going on, so it doesn't really matter how it turns out. I love this sort of plus paper here. It was a mix-in paper that I've used quite a bit. It's just really nice having that white, but with that little bit of the black on it, just adds that extra interest, especially when I'm here matting photos and stuff like that. So I'm kind of using the photo placement to try to tie parts of this together, and I don't want to lose this clustering that I've sort of created with the pattern paper layers. So you can see me just sort of picking up part of the photo here and just sort of working with that rather than working against it or trying to play around with different things. So I've got the photo stuck down, happy with kind of the matting that's going on, and it sort of helps to separate, because I've used sort of often the pastel tones and those blues, those soft blues in the background. It sort of separates itself quite nicely from that black and white stripe on the background. As seems to be one of my embellishments of choice with a lot of the photographs in this 8.5 by 11 album, I'm going to add a little bit of stitching around, this time the photo mat. So I don't think I've done this in any of the other pages in the album so far. But basically I'm just poking some holes around, and I'm going to do quite tight stitching around, so I'm not going to leave the gap in between, so you won't know that it's that it's just hand stitched. Often I do like just to have the single stitch and then a gap and then a single stitch. I don't mind that, but for this one I do end up doing it all the way around, and just sort of using that back stitch, so it's quite nice seeing that subtle border around there. So I've got that there. You can't really see it in that background in there, but when you see some close-ups at the end, you'll hopefully be able to have a good look at the stitching. So I'm just going to curl up some of the pieces that are part of that photo mat, just sort of to give it a little bit more lift on the way around. But that's essentially what it's going to be like at the moment, and there's not a heap of room for lots of other embellishments on this page. So I am going to pull out a few things. So first of all, I'll get this stuck down. I am just using the foam tape here because of all these layers, and I do want to bring in some sort of die cut embellishments as well on this patterned paper background. Just a note, if you are interested, there are a lot of people working on Scraptember layouts at the moment, and there's a playlist below of all the people that are working on those. If you're not already, I would love you to subscribe, and that way you won't miss what I'm doing and what I'm working on, and I look forward to seeing any comments that are left at the end. So both this banner here that I am working on and the floral die cuts that are there are print and cut on the Cricut. So I have used Close to My Heart digital collections. I flattened the images that I wanted after sizing them the way I wanted them. I flattened them and then I used the print and cut feature on the Cricut. So it printed these gorgeous colours and shapes, and then it cut nicely around the shapes as well. So it's quite nice having that option to create some extra die cuts and some different embellishments for these pages. So I'm playing around here with the black lettering for this layout. Just because of that black in the background, I felt it could handle the weight of these black chipboard alpha, and I sort of played around with different positions of the title, and I do end up going back to, I think it up the side is where I do end up doing it. So I've sort of called this captured, because I sort of captured these water features, and there is a few of them that do show up in this album, just because they were just beautiful little waterways and little creeks and little ways that little things that I was able to capture on this journey. And my daughter also would be capturing different things like fern fronds and different things on the track as well. So it was just nice moments to pause and take in what was happening around us. So you can see here I do play around with some different positions for the lettering, but I do I end up putting it where I'm quite happy with it. So that is that, and did wonder whether I should use the chipboard, the wooden ones, just because of that heaviness of the titles, but I do end up going for the dark ones, and I've stuck them up the left, and I'm now just adding some different shimmer embellishments as well, just to add a little bit more interest. Here's the close-up shots or the still shots of the finished layout. If you watch right to the end, thanks heaps for watching. It's been great to share this process with you.